Namaste. The recorded history of international logistics started in Egypt. Yes, I'm referring to the exodus led by Moses from Egypt to Israel, involving the crossing of countries and ocean with various types of cargo. This can also be referred to as a consolidation of different items ranging from livestock to all usable items for human beings. Due to these reasons, while we consider Egyptian history as the earliest civilization of mankind, we can also assert that international logistics and consolidation began in Egypt from a technical perspective. The well-known developed world from 4,500 years ago lies behind me, and I'm glad to document this episode of logistical and economical significance of Egypt in front of the pyramids. Here, I will discuss a captivating journey through Egypt's history, its ongoing cultural connections to global economies, and particularly its link to India. Join me as I delve into the past and shed light on this enduring partnership that has stood the test of time. Egypt, often referred to as a gift of the Nile, has long been a hub of trade and commerce. Its strategic location connecting Africa, Asia, and Europe made it an ideal trading partner for civilization around the world. Throughout the history, any country or location that functions as a hub for commerce, trade, and finance tend to become prosperous. Ancient Egypt grew to become a hub just as modern places like Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, Antwerp, and Rotterdam have prospered by becoming global hubs. Let me discuss a few points that helped Egypt establish itself as a center of global power in the ancient world. Number one, the advantage of Nile River. The Nile River, with its fertile valleys, enabled Egypt to produce surplus agriculture goods that were highly sought after in exchange for other valuable commodities. The Nile River also played a crucial role in the development of their society. Number two, the oldest hub. With the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea on both sides dividing the world, Egypt served as the natural hub before the construction of Suez Canal. Egypt leveraged this advantage using its waterways for internal transportation and ports to connect oceans. Starting with ancient trading hubs like Sile and Wadi Tumilat, Egypt's maritime influence grew with the establishment of ports like Alexandria, Kleisma, and Anshukna around 1300 BC. The Egyptians also constructed ships to navigate the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea, expanding their commercial reach to the Arabian Peninsula and East Africa. And number three, stable civilization. The pharaohs, viewed as divine rulers, maintained centralized control over the empire. The sophisticated bureaucracy and the political and social organization of ancient Egypt contributed to its stability and continuity over millennia. And number four, legacy of the ancient monuments. Egypt's awe-inspiring ancient monuments such as pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, which are behind me, have always captured the imagination of travelers worldwide. These architectural marvels stood as testaments to Egypt's wealth and economic power. The attraction of these historical sites attracted traders and explorers, further solidifying Egypt's position as a significant trading partner for the world. In summary, Egypt's growth as an early empire and its prosperity can be attributed to factors such as agricultural success, advanced administration, geographical advantages, and trade opportunities. Now, as we explore the intriguing trade and political relations between Egypt and India, we discover parallels like the enduring influence of ancient empires and a unique bond through commerce and cultural exchange. Well, let me talk about the early days of economic cooperation. Number one, cultural exchange and collaboration. The trade between Egypt and India extended beyond economic transactions. It fostered a vibrant cultural exchange as ideas, knowledge, and transactions were shared among trade routes. Egyptian textile, spices, papyrus, perfumes, artifacts, and precious stone found their way to the Indian subcontinent, while Indian silk, indigo, spices were sought after in Egypt. This exchange of goods nurtured cultural intermingling, leaving a lasting impact on both the societies. Number two, maritime trade routes. Maritime trade routes played a crucial role in connecting Egypt and India, enabling the exchange of goods across vast distances. The Red Sea and the Arabian Sea served as a primary channel for maritime commerce, with ports on both ends witnessing bustling trading activities. Recent discoveries have unveiled historical evidence of trade routes between Egypt's Beryl port and India's Kambad port in Gujarat. Number 3. Influence of ancient empires. The rise and fall of empires from pharaohs to Greeks, Romans and Persians impacted trade routes and access to markets. The enduring trade relationship between Egypt and India has withstood centuries of economic shift and cultural transformations. Despite political upheavals, invasions and changes in global dynamics, the bond forged through trade remained resilient, contributing in the long-lasting partnership of this India and Egypt trade.
Recently, the Egyptian government made a lot of efforts in order to develop the network roads between all the Egyptian ports, and also invested a lot of money in new ports like new terminal in Alexandria, new terminal in Sokhna, new terminal in Damietta. And also they are connecting all these ports with a dry port in 10th of Ramadan and 6th of October and in Borg Al Arab near to Alexandria. They will connect all these ports and terminal by a complete network of rail to make the transportation between Red Sea and the Mediterranean port very easy. And also the customs authority of the Egyptian government, they will implement a new Silk Road in order to move between Sokhna and Alexandria, Damietta and Port Said, in order to move the cargo between Mediterranean ports and Red Sea port very easy and smooth.
As we look towards the modern era and the future partnership between Egypt and India, this holds immense promise for close political and economic collaboration. Let me talk on 6 important points in this regard. Number 1. Early non-aligned movement. Egypt was one of the first countries to align with India's political initiative, the non-alignment movement, that was led by India's first Prime Minister. They consistently found themselves on the same side of the international forums, advocating for decolonization, self-determination and global peace. Number 2. Shared economic interest. Egypt and India share common interests, access various economic sectors including textiles, spices, agriculture and manufacturing. This shared interest has been a driving force behind continued collaboration between the two nations. Economic policies such as preferential trade agreement and investment incentive have been implemented to further strengthen bilateral trade and ensure its sustainability in the future.
Through past years and the cooperation between the governments of Egypt and India, I believe they are trying to raise up the contribution between both countries to increase the trading section between them, especially after Egypt goes to BRICS. Starting Jan 2024, I believe that the cooperation between both countries will get up to the sky after using the local currencies as well. I believe this will affect too much between the production process and the shipping process between Egypt and India.
Number 3. Indian investment and trade with Egypt. Indian investments in 2021 reached $3.5 billion with the expectation of further growth in the coming years. Bilateral trade stands at $7 billion and both governments aim to elevate this to $12 billion within few years.
When we come to talk about the Egyptian-Indian cooperation in the government and trading section, you can say that through many years, more than 15 Indian companies is investing more than $3 billion in Egypt. Rather than the Egyptian companies also investing more than $15 million in India, which is providing in many sectors like electronical and car paints and manufacturing of the electronic devices.
Number 4. Evolving customer base. Egypt's growing middle-class population of 110 million people serve as a significant export target for India's automotive, pharmaceutical and construction products. Similarly, for Egypt, India presents a lucrative market for high-grade textiles, garments, chemicals and petroleum products. Number 5. Diversification and future cooperation. Both countries recognize the need to diversify their economies and explore new avenues for trade cooperation. Technological advancement and the digital era offer opportunities for collaboration in fields like information technology, renewable energy, and tourism. And number 6, Suez Canal Economic Zone. The Suez Canal Economic Zone is a 460-kilometer long international hub for economic development in Egypt, centered around the Suez Canal area. Egypt has allocated a dedicated cluster in the industrial and logistic hub to India, serving as a gateway for India to access other markets more effectively.
Cooperation between Egypt and India is not only about the trading and manufacturing. It's also Egypt being a traditionally partner for Indian cargo to move to Europe. Through Egypt in Sokhna port and Port Said port and through Suez Canal, it's a perfect location between Egypt and India to move their cargo into the Mediterranean Sea. Not only about the moving the cargo, but also to produce the cargo inside Egypt in Port Said free zone through an Indian company to export it worldwide.
In conclusion, our exploration of Egypt's role as India's oldest trading partner underscores that the centuries-old trade relationship between the two nations has not only contributed to our respective economic growth, but has also enriched our cultural fabric. Both nations have adapted to changing circumstances, opening new avenues for commerce and fostering diplomatic ties to promote stability. The enduring partnership between Egypt and India stands as a testament to the strength of human connection, persistence, and the potential to collaboration across time. As both nations move into the future, the timeless trade between them continue to write new chapters, promising prosperity and progress for the generations to come. Well, we have come to the end of exploring Egypt and Indian economy, cooperation, and future. Thank you for watching this episode, and